Okay, so first of all, thanks for being here. I know most of you haven't met me yet. My name's Jaren Nomer. I'm the head of career success here at Fullstack. And you're going to be working with me really closely now that you're ready to graduate and find your jobs. So today we're going to talk about LinkedIn, top 11 things all software engineers should have on their profiles. So first, let's talk about facts on LinkedIn. Over 400 million registered members. That's a lot. Over 300 million companies. Quite a lot too. 94% of recruiters use LinkedIn to vet candidates. I mean, this is such a big thing. As a recruiter, I live and breathe in LinkedIn. That is what sourcing is all about, finding people on LinkedIn. Number of new LinkedIn members per second, 2, which is ridiculous. Your profile is 14 times more likely to be viewed if you have a photo. Professional looking ones even better, of course. Increase in profile views if you include skills, 13 times. Most overused profile word, motivated. That's hilarious. I thought it would have been passionate. Okay, so why? Why is personal branding super important? Number one, this is the source of recruiters. Recruiters are always on LinkedIn. So if you're not on LinkedIn, that means recruiters can't find you, and that's not something that we want to do. And it's a chance to show off your profile, your projects, your presentations, and other slideshows and things that you guys have done at Fullstack, which is awesome. First of all, let's talk about how to create a header. This is a screenshot of an individual, alum actually. And as you can see, she's wrote Fullstack software engineer. That is your header. Another thing to think about is location. So down here is location, and where that comes into play is if you have anyone in here that's looking to get a job elsewhere than New York, you wouldn't want to keep New York on here even if you are in New York while looking for a position in Austin. You want to write Austin, because when recruiters do searches, they search by location. So if you want to look for a job in Austin and you have New York, you're not going to come up in their searches, right? So make sure that you put the location on where you're looking. So if it's New York, keep it under New York. If you live in Jersey, still put New York in there because Jersey is just such a small, area. You don't want to do that. Jersey. Some people keep it on there. I'm like, why are you doing Jersey? Okay, creating that awesome header. Upload your professional shots. Remember, guys, we are going to get shots here. If you don't have something, later in the cohort, you will have an opportunity to take professional shots here. Tagline examples, full stack developer, engineer, or JavaScript developer. Honestly, you can write anything up there that's suited for you. If you want front-end engineering, write front-end engineering. JavaScript engineering, software engineering, anything that fits right to you and is aligned with what you're looking for, right? Add your location. Set industry to computer software or an industry that you would like to be involved in. So for example, if you are only looking at fintech, obviously you should write fintech. Or if you're only concentrating on nonprofit, then put nonprofit. Because again, when recruiters are doing searches on LinkedIn, these are things that we can select. So when we say, okay, industry, nonprofit, if you don't have nonprofit, you're not going to come up in that search, right? So you want to have as much keywords or different areas of like the searches that recruiters do to match what you're looking for. Does that make sense? Cool. Craft a narrative, a summary. So this is going to be something that's under your profile, which we'll get into an example. And it just talk about yourself. Talk about where you started, how you got here, what gets you interested in development, and the kind of things that maybe you are interested in, even though you don't have any experience in it. So for example, if you really want to get into data engineering at one point, maybe writing keywords like Hadoop would mean that you're going to come up in those searches. And sometimes it's not always that you have those skill sets that are important, but it's also the fact that you're interested in them and know them. So make sure that you write any keyword to jobs that you are interested in. And you can find out those keywords actually by looking at job descriptions and see what those keywords are on there. And make sure you add them. So to start off with a narrative, here are a couple things, questions that you can use. What was I doing before Fullstack? So talk about that. What led me to coding at Fullstack or Grace Hopper? What about it makes me passionate? What kind of job do I want once I graduate? What type of industries do I want to focus on? What interests me? And this is also something that, doesn't always have to be just about technology. You could even write some fun stuff about how you traveled the world, or, how you created a awesome car to go from the West Coast to the East Coast. I don't know, something really interesting about you. Doesn't always have to be just about technology. And then what do you specialize in? If you have a niche that you want to talk about, this is an area to talk about it. So here is an example of a great personal summary. After exploring the business side of tech, I wanted to move on from selling cool software to building it. That's why I took the plunge into an incredible world of web development, and I couldn't love it more. I'm currently a full stack developer specializing in JavaScript and the mean stack, and I'm always open to new technologies. And then we talk about the proficient technologies, knowledgeable, and some similarities. These are keywords, right? That's what we were just talking about. And a recruiter, what they do is they'll do a search for like software engineer, plus JavaScript, plus MongoDB, plus Hadoop. And whoever comes up is who I'm going to be looking at, right? So if you don't have these keywords on your profile, you're not coming up. Projects. This is a great way for people to get insight into your coding. So you can put the different projects on your profile that you worked on. And you guys have worked on a lot of projects here and more to come. So you can see where the projects are and how to add it by pushing that Add Project button. Describe the project in great detail and add your team members. Again, recruiters will look at other individuals' profile, and they might come to you from their projects. If they think this is a cool project, they're going to say, wow, who else worked on this project? And it might bring you, or it might bring them to your profile. So make sure that you add all the people that work there and talk about the project in detail as well as what you contributed. Here's the breakdown on how to add projects. As you can tell up top, we've got the name, the project URL, which you guys get, and if you haven't gotten them yet, you are going to be getting them as you get them recorded. It's a YouTube URL. And then team members. Add your team members in the description, of course. Next, number 4, add your skills. Add technical skills and prioritize them. So prioritize them the ones that you're interested in, right? Like if you've one time touched Python, don't put that up top if you don't want to be working in a Python type of role, right? Endorse one another. This is such an easy win, guys. You have so many people to look to and say, hey, can you endorse me? Because that looks really awesome to have, 77 endorsements for JavaScript. Looks better than 1 endorsement for JavaScript, right? And add everything you've used in a project. And again, anything that you're interested in as well. Put those up there because they can be searched, and you want to make sure that you come up in those searches. Probably just don't ask everybody to endorse you on things that you don't really know. Here's an example. As you can tell, we've got a lot of different skill set, and it's really awesome because these are all the cool people that, endorsed you for it. And people are going to endorse you randomly. I get endorsed for things I don't even know. So if you get some weird endorsements, you can actually take them out, by the way. And you can add whatever you like. So you can always play with that. Again, endorsing each other is really, really important. Don't ask only your teammates or your classmates, but ask instructors as well. If you've done something in your previous work, ask your old coworkers. Make sure you try and reach out to as many people as you can, because this is also like building out your network. If you're reaching out to coworkers about something you've done in the past, it's kind of like getting back in touch with them again, which is a good thing because you're about to go on the job market, which means that you could turn to them when that time comes. Recommend each other. Recruiters always look at recommendations. Try to make it something specific. Don't be like, this person's really awesome and they're a great coder. Go into a little bit of a detail. It doesn't always have to be on skills. It could be about personality as well, because that's equally as important when looking for a job. And use examples if you have, worked on a project, it was, they're really fast, or they're really team-oriented, whatever it is, but use some examples because it looks more legit. Here is an example of a recommendation. Kathy is truly a one-of-a-kind programmer and person. She has one of the brightest minds I've ever known, works as hard as anybody I've known, and has a kick-butt personality to boot. Wow. Anyways, you are reading the rest of that. You guys got it. So, like, this is the kind of things that look really good, and especially if you worked on a project with one another, that's going to look amazing because they will see that you really worked on a project and that person's recommending you as well. Who can you recommend? Who can recommend you? Wow, can't read. People up full stack like we talked about, instructors and teammates. Also, any old coworkers. Also, another situation is if you end up getting a mentor can recommend you. And this can happen after you get in the job search. I always say, and we'll get to this, networking is key. So you want to network while you're in the job search, and that might be finding yourself a mentor. And after you communicate with them, you know, about your projects and like all that kind of stuff, they might want to recommend you. You can always ask for recommendations. Yes. Number 7, join the right groups on LinkedIn. This is very important, guys. So this is also another searchable field. I can go in and say, I'm looking for a software engineer who is in, you know, XYZ groups. If I see like a QA that's not in any groups, or engineer that's not in any groups, the first thing I'm thinking about is that they're not involved in their community. If they're not involved in their community, maybe they're not always motivated to push themselves in technology, because a lot of new technologies come out all the time, so engineers need to be on top of that. So if you're not in really good groups that I know are good groups for engineers, that would make me wonder if you're really passionate about this or not. Another thing that's really good about joining groups is they share a lot of jobs on groups. There's actually a jobs tab on these groups, so you can keep an eye on the different jobs that are coming out. There's some really good discussions that are happening, right? You can add to these discussions because recruiters look at that. We look at all of that. So it is another way to like be creative, right? And the way you can figure out which kind of groups to look at is check out some alums that we have and see what kind of groups they're in, you know? Ask, when you're talking to other developers or engineers, ask them what groups they're in, or, you know, do you have any advice on groups I should join on LinkedIn? I hear there's some good conversations and jobs that are being shared. Love to know which ones are, you know, good ones to target. Status update. Now that you guys are about to join the job market, the easiest and fastest thing you can do is a status update, right? This goes to your network and everybody else, and if people start liking it and sharing it, it's just going to get wider and wider, and that network is going to grow, and somebody might see it, right? And it's always good, like, you can write, so this person, Mark, put looking for an opportunity also on their header. I can't say that word today. Whatever. So that's something that you can do too. It tells recruiters that you're looking for a job, but we also know from your profile if you're looking for a role or not too. But it's just another extra thing you can do. Follow companies. So recruiters look at the software developers and their wow, not today. Recruiters do searches. I'm not going to read. Read is not working. Recruiters do searches, right? We just talked about that. Another thing that they can look at is who's following my company. So the first person I'm going to start reaching out to are the people that are already know about my company, that are already interested in my company. So I'm going to target them, right? I don't mean to go on LinkedIn tomorrow and like literally follow every company, but the top 5 companies that you know you're super passionate about and would love to work for them, follow them, right? Because then also when you follow them on your feed, when they share jobs, it's going to post up on your feed. So that's a good way to get more information on openings as well. Okay. Number 10, connect with people, connect with your coworkers, connect with employers, connect with alum, connect with staff, connect with engineers, right? This is an awesome tool to look at who's out there and who can you talk to. We're going to get into this a little bit later, but when you're doing the job search, just applying online gets you really nowhere. I mean, you get 1% response rate, and half of those are probably going to be rejections anyway, so that's not really high, right? But the best thing that you can do is connect with engineers at those companies, or connect with engineers in general. Pick their brain. Hey, what kind of skills do you guys look for in developers? Where do developers fall short in interviews? What can I do to make myself stand out? What did you do to help yourself in the job search? How did you make yourself stand out? All those kind of questions are just going to help you get a job, right? And what happens is when you're having these great conversations with these engineers, they're going to refer you to roles that they hear about. That's how you want to get hired. That's how you're going to get hired in the end. Applying online, it's very hard. You go into a sea of like 100 other resumes. And God knows how many of them are also dev bootcamp grads, right? Make yourself stand out. Get in front of somebody. Your personality is going to be what's selling you right now. Your resume is not as much because you don't have a lot of experience. But people hire people on potential. And I can't always read your potential on a resume. But when I talk to you, I see your passion, I see the way you communicate, and I see how excited you are. That's going to sell me on your potential. Next, how to add videos. Oh, well, we're going to go. Number 11, add your videos. So videos are things that recruiters also look at. This gives me insight on what is interesting to you and what kind of projects that you work on, especially like tech talks, right? That's really cool. I want to see that. That could sell me. But if you don't have anything up there and you also don't have a lot of years of experience, I don't know what to look at anymore, right? So videos are something that you guys should definitely add up there. And here's how to add them. Go to LinkedIn. In one of your postings, click on the video button at the bottom and then add the YouTube link. As you can tell, it says share. It's got the whole thing on there. But it's very easy. If you need help, just let me know, but you should not. Okay. Before the job search, make sure your profile is completed. Again, you want to be searchable. You want jobs to come to you, right? That's the easiest way for it to happen. So what you can do is make yourself findable with these keywords, right? Make sure you talk about your old jobs, right? Talk about what you did there. Because sometimes, like, for example, I know a student from here that went over to Stack Overflow. One of the main reasons why they really wanted him is because they had an opening in their marketing team as a developer. They needed a developer that understood marketing, and he had marketing experience. So it was a great fit. And that's one of the reasons he got the job, right? So your past experience could help you get your next job, even if it's in technology, even if it doesn't have to do anything about that, but it can help you. So make sure you talk about that as well. Add your volunteering. If you've volunteered before, like there's a lot of companies that, are social impact kind of companies that want to hire people that are involved in their community by doing volunteering or other work. So make sure you put that up there as well. Oh, your courses, your education. Of course, this is really important because you can also find other alums. One way to reach out to people is by saying, hey, I see that you're a Knoll grad. I'm a Knoll grad. Hey, let's talk, whatever. That's a common ground. I'm going to reply to this person because I know they went to Florida State, and I want to help somebody that went to Florida State, right? Because I went to Florida State. So it's like being able to use your education for another way of networking and finding more jobs. Hackathon projects. This is a biggie. Recruiters always look at hackathon projects because, again, it's showing that you're involved in the community, that you like programming. Even on the weekends, you want to go do something because you think it's fun. And those are the kind of people that we want to hire. We don't want to hire anybody that's just going to come into work and do this as a job and leave, right? It should be a passion of yours, right? And hackathons show that this is a passion of yours. Also, hackathons are a great way to get jobs. A lot of companies hold hackathons at their company because they know they're going to get all these great developers in there. They're going to start looking at who's good, who's standing out. Let me talk to them about a job, right? And it's fun. Sometimes you win prizes, cool prizes too. Okay, extra ways to brand yourself as a software engineer. So LinkedIn is not the only way to do it, right? We also have Facebook. You can use Facebook to your advantage too. You probably have more connections on Facebook than you do on LinkedIn, which is totally fine because LinkedIn's for like professional use. But take advantage of those connections. Write yourself a nice little post talking about how you're just graduated and you're looking for a job and would love to connect with any engineers out there to find out more about the market and what you can do to make yourself look good for companies. So here is a Facebook post. Last week I graduated from Full Stack Academy and I'm officially starting my job search in NYC. If any one of you know of awesome companies, NYC companies that you're looking for JavaScript developers. Wow, I'm just off today. I would really appreciate it. Direct message me. Let me know if you have any companies that are really cool to talk to. Or hey, would love to talk to other engineers out there to, again, learn more about the market and learn more about the community. Do you know of any good meetups in NYC for technology? Whatever, right? You can find out a lot from your connections. People love to talk on Facebook. Just love it. Other profiles to create. AngelList, especially for those that are looking to get into startups. AngelList is an amazing place for that. There's startups from 2 people to 200, 500, even 600 people. So it's not always small companies that are in AngelList, but it's companies that have been formed like 10 years ago or so, or less, right? So that's how we kind of categorize startups. Stack Overflow. We're going to have a lecture tomorrow from Peter from Stack Overflow that'll talk about how to make your Stack Overflow developer page, story page. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's called story page. Anyways, he'll talk to you more about that. But Stack Overflow is actually an engine for recruiters where they go in and they do, just like LinkedIn, they do searches and developer profiles pop up. So that's another search engine for recruiters. So you want to make sure that you're on that and that you're searchable and they can find you. Twitter. Follow accounts of companies you're interested in. Tweet at them. I know so many companies where like in their top 3 sources of getting candidates is Twitter. Mind-blowing. I don't know why, but I guess people are really active on Twitter. So they share jobs on Twitter. They talk about some interesting things on Twitter. You can follow engineers that are like evangelists and all that kind of stuff. They talk about really interesting stuff and also share openings. So definitely, even if you don't have a Twitter account now, you can make one. It's very easy and just start looking at what's going on. I find openings through just saying JavaScript developer. And I just search that and there's like all these tweets that come up of companies that are sharing these openings, right? So you can do that too. Ooh, another thing, you can find out who works there and you can ask to meet with them or to do a coffee chat. We'll talk more about that again later, but it's really important that you just start networking and you start talking to other engineers because that's who's going to give you good tips on how to make yourself stand out in the job search. Also, they might give you leads, right? So this will wrap up LinkedIn presentation. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly and I will review or look at anything you guys like.